Hello there, my friend. It's Tania Gabrielle here, Wealth Astro-Numerologist. Welcome to Star Codes. This is the forecast for the astrology and numerology, the astrocartography and geodetic mapping for the next week or so. There is so much on the docket right now, as you all know, if you've been following me. Yes, so we're going to dive more deeply into the culmination of eclipse season, how it will impact the next 6 months, the geodetic mapping of the most recent earthquake that happened on the 19th of September. It is still September 19th. For me, I'm recording this on Friday. This is the 7.8 earthquake that happened on the Kamchatka Peninsula, right where that 8.8 was on July 29th. And we're going to look at that number 29 because it really ties in to what is happening now. So we're going to look at the numerology, the incredible messages that are coming through from the universe, from spirit, to awaken us, and what the meaning of the messages are. So it's a big deep dive this week. And so let's get started. First of all, just a reminder, this eclipse on Sunday in most of the world, though it's Monday the 22nd in, for example, Australia, New Zealand, and Asia, this solar eclipse is at 29 degrees, the very final degree of Virgo, and it ties into the 8.8 earthquake on July 29th that would have happened just 2 months prior, or less than 2 months prior. And now that same area of the world is activated again. Like I said, we'll do the mapping of that in a moment because it's quite extraordinary when you see the moon line move across and applying to the solar eclipse. So 29 is a number of destiny, of karma. It is considered a critical degree in astrology, so it is the final degree of every sign, is the 29th degree. It reduces to 11. We have the sun and moon at 29 degrees, and we have Mars in Libra at 29 degrees during the eclipse. That is the last degree of Libra, and Libra is where the sun will be entering just hours later to create the equinox, the autumnal equinox, welcoming autumn in the northern hemisphere, and the spring equinox in the southern hemisphere. That is just hours after this second eclipse. So Mars at 29 degrees then creates a triple 29 code, which is a triple 11 code. And anything that comes in a triad 3 times is like an activation that is undeniable. So when it happens in these 2 signs, Virgo, which is about healing, being of service, and Libra, which is about, really, it represents liberation. It represents the sunset. That's what the actual glyph looks like for Libra, is the sun setting, because it represents the 7th house of love, of relationships, of marriage, of unifying with another, which is what 11 represents. 2911 is about the 2 ones, the 2 beings, 2 people coming together as one and being in that portal, that present moment portal where there is no future, there is no past, there's just now. And that's the inspiration. That's why 11 is the psychic number, because it is tuned. Those are 2 antennae as well. Remember, there's always layers with these symbolisms. 2 antennae that hear the divine call, the calling, the aha moments, the inspiration in spirit. So Mars in Libra also activates another connection, because Libra is ruled by Venus, of course, and Mars and Venus represent the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So we have a merging of the 2 hemispheres, in a sense. That is what we are unifying now. So the other number that we must look at for this eclipse, which happens on September 21st at 8:54 p.m. Universal Time in Greenwich, in London, England, is the number 21. 21st of September, because that full date 9/21, 2025 also adds up to 21. And actually, in September, we have 10 consecutive days where the day and the date, universal day and date, are the same. I cover that, by the way, in my Premium Wealth Forecast in great detail. So the 21st of September, adding up to a 21 universal date, 21 is our 21st century. So it creates another triple activation because we are in the 21st century. And this 2121 code, right on the date of the eclipse, is completely not a coincidence, as nothing is. It is letting us know that truth, 21 is the truth shall set you free. 21 is also about creativity, self-expression, and also it is about joy and connecting with others through a sense of celebration and joy. The main frequency of 21 is the truth shall set you free. And so with Saturn having just moved back into Pisces with its retrograde, the final sign and the final degrees of that sign, and Neptune hovering on the first sign, Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, hovering on the first degree of the first sign, Aries, this is also very, very destined. It's a karmic event. Again, we have two. We've got Saturn and Neptune. And in fact, the eclipse is opposite to Neptune and Saturn. So again, there's another activation of two sides of the coin. We've got the sun and moon together in Virgo, 29 degrees, and then we've got Saturn at 28 degrees Pisces, opposite the eclipse, with Neptune at 0 degrees Aries, also opposite the eclipse. So we have this number two and what it means activated left and right everywhere. And then we've got the triplicities of 29 and the triplicity, of course, of 21. So 21 is, like I said, the truth shall set you free. And that means that many truths are surfacing at this time and will continue to. So they were truly like launched in September. And then as the truths start to surface, beliefs are being questioned because we need to question everything now. Everything that we took on from the external is being questioned. It's being put into the light. Like, does it stand up? Is it keeping you in balance, right? Libra, Equinox, and the oppositions. Are you in balance? So things like your truth versus my truth is being questioned. And that's very confronting, but it's absolutely necessary because of what we identify with. Anything that can be externally imposed that we take on that identifies you, gives you an identity, is in a way a deception because it's almost like a mask that is worn. And I know it doesn't feel like that when you feel you identify with something. It doesn't feel like a mask to you. But in the end, who is talking after you take on that belief when you are engaging with the world? Well, it is the identity often that is talking, not your heart. And this is, again, it's very confronting. So love, peace, and truth, you cannot identify with. You can only be in those frequencies. So they are moment to moment inspirations, awakenings, right? They're not definable. It takes a certain surrender to that frequency in order to feel it. You surrender to the frequency, but you don't give your power away. With an identity, you're giving away the internal ability to discern and use internal wisdom, because every situation is different. And once you identify, it's hard to break out of that list of bullet points that describe, that define you, and be present with every different person, every different situation, every idea freshly. So being in the present moment is a true gift. And this is why this time and this eclipse season and this month, again, we're so many codes to go over. This month of September is an 18 month. That's a 9. 18 is truly about the ability to let go to the point where the healing is astounding. And if you don't let go, something has to give, right? So the letting go theme is strong. And the reason it's so big is we're in the 9th month It's an 18-9 universal month, and 2025 is a 9 universal year. So we're in a whole cycle of endings. And September is the culmination of this 999 energy, right? Activating, letting go of the past, letting go of beliefs, letting go of what we identify with, so that we're just purely present with whatever shows up. The equinox then follows hours later after the eclipse, and that's on the 22nd in most of the world, and some of the world it's the 23rd. But in order to be feeling this sense of balance where day and night are the same throughout the world, you have to feel that inner harmony, and that means accepting both sides of the coin. And that means the shadow of you cast a shadow, has to be alchemized and acknowledged. The opposites are given to us as a tool in order to recognize what we want. Do we want to gravitate towards what lights up the truth or what darkens the truth, right? That is always the choice. And you will naturally say no to what is not actually supporting you, what is not for your highest good. And you will be attuned to everything and everyone and every idea that supports and nourishes life for everyone. We are biological beings. We have a body that responds to stimuli, that responds to sensual perception and sensual stimulation. And our body's constantly telling us when things are feeling right or not quite right. Like there's something missing, right? You know that feeling. It can show up anywhere in your body. And when things do feel right, we feel it because it's flowing. There's no disruption. There's just a sense of well-being. So another thing with this code, with the 29 and the 11 reduces to 2, which is the number of love. It is connected to Libra. And 29 is very much connected to initiations. So like I said, it's a number of destiny. It's a very big intensification of growth. There are so many messages in symbols, in geometry, in numerology, and of course in astrology, because astrology contains all of them. Astrology has the symbols in terms of the glyphs for the planets and star signs. It has the numerology in the degree numbers, and it has the sacred geometry in the actual transits that create triangles and squares and kites. For example, the Virgo eclipse has an incredible kite. It's showing us that we are here to take off, to take flight. The grand trine that is part of the kite is in air signs. So yeah, we are here to lighten up, not get bogged down by heaviness. One more thing I don't want to forget. On the 24th of September, as I showed in episode 313, the one prior to this one, we do have a finger of God. It's pointing to the moon that is conjunct Mars. And that Mars at the same time is in an exact square to Pluto. The moment of the finger of God, which is pointing from Uranus and Gemini and Neptune and Saturn, that conjunction in Pisces Aries. The moment of that finger of God is also, and it's pointing to Mars conjunct the moon. So the moon just happens to be at 1 degrees with Mars at 1 degrees. And this would be in Scorpio. This is on the 24th of September. So they're both at 1 degree. It's just the moon, which, we have 360 degrees in the zodiac. And the moon just happens to be right conjunct Mars, both at 1 degrees in Scorpio. When Mars is square to Pluto at 1 degrees in Aquarius. And then the finger of God is also activated. So truly a huge moment. So the energy is continuing into next week in a big way. And Mars is the co-ruler of Scorpio. Pluto is the other ruler of Scorpio. Mars will have just moved into Scorpio. The moon will have just moved into Scorpio. Scorpio is about uncovering the truth. It's a water sign, so the purging part of it is absolutely major. The empowerment is absolutely major with Scorpio. That's how you have no fear, because you will always have this ability to intuit, through observation, discernment, listening, and of course, non-judgment of others. The judgment is what gets in the way. Judgment separates you, whereas discernment is based on pure observation and acceptance. And like I said earlier, I want to do this short segment on the 7.8 earthquake in the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia, 3 days prior to the solar eclipse in Virgo and the equinox. We're going to look at the line that was applying, the moon line that was applying, moving towards the eclipse, and its relation to the location of the earthquake, and just show you how this unbelievable science of astrology works for both mundane astrology, which is what we're doing now with world astrology, but also with astrocartography, which is personal astrology, where we map your lines on a map, which is one of my funnest readings to do for people because it helps so much to know your best places and your not so good places and what's happening now. And that's called cyclocartography. So let's go to our geodetic earthquake segment. So let's look at what was going on at the moment of the earthquake, September 19th, 6:58 a.m. Again, this is the Kamchatka Peninsula 7.8 earthquake geodetic mapping. Here you see the moon line. This is what I was going to show you. So the moon line is approaching. Here's the sun. So the eclipse will take place when this moon line moves over to the sun, and it still has, about 2.5, 3 days to go. So I'm going to show you now why this placement of the moon was so critical regarding this 7.8 earthquake. The earthquake happened right in this area right here, and the moon is approaching the eclipse right there, right? The eclipse is in 2.5 days from the moment of the earthquake. So when the moon is applying, meaning it's moving towards a point that is activated, it is its strongest. Once the moon has passed the area, or once any planetary line has passed the area, it starts weakening very quickly. And then note that the Uranus line, this is the Uranus line right here, is super close as well. Uranus is literally retrograde now. That means Uranus is moving to the left. So you can see here, Uranus is moving this way towards the earthquake. This purple line, this dotted line, is moving towards the earthquake. And Uranus is all about sudden events. And this is a major combination of two lines. The moon moving rapidly towards the earthquake in this direction, while Uranus moves in this direction, right? So they're literally sending magnetic energy. And as you can see, Uranus is halfway from the earthquake compared to the moon. So there is, the earthquake actually happened right here, right? So the Uranus is halfway and the moon is halfway. So this is a midpoint. The actual earthquake area is the midpoint of these two planets. So then we move the moon forward, and you can see it will turn into the eclipse, but it is moving towards eclipsing the sun. So let's move it forward in 12-hour segments. You'll see the time right here. So there we go. That's 12 hours after the earthquake. And now it's reaching the area of the earthquake. And then it moves right beyond where the earthquake happened. And then here is the eclipse, right? So you can see this is absolutely major. The Uranus line also is impacted. As you can see, the eclipse crosses the Uranus line right there. It is almost the exact latitude as the earthquake, where the eclipse crosses Uranus. So another visual for you. So this is another example of how astrocartography, geodetic mapping, is so connected to our life on planet Earth. And so we do want to be very much aware of our own patterns regarding the lines on Earth. How do our personal lines impact us around the globe? Just even moving from one place within your neighborhood to another place through local space lines can impact you. So astrocartography is an incredible tool. It is like a divine gift, as is astrology and numerology. And I have a wonderful free masterclass that you can watch at Astrocartography, The Power of Fortunate Places. Get free instant access at positivelocations.com. This is such a wonderful gift that we have, this science of superimposing your birth chart onto the world map. And so we'll look at that. We're going to look at the 5 critical components that make up your astrocartography profile, which impacts your career, your relationships, abundance, financial flow, health, family, friends. It all depends on the planetary lines, the Paran lines, which are latitude lines, the local space lines, which emanate from your birthplace. We're going to look at numerous celebrity astrocartography examples just to bring it to life. And a common mistake that's made if you look up your lines online, that's super important. And the relocated chart as well, which is a vital piece of your profile. So you can watch it all at positivelocations.com. Enjoy that and have an incredible week. Have a really lovely eclipse weekend. If it's Monday, then maybe try doing a 3-day weekend. It's very important for this solar new moon eclipse at 29:29. So many new beginnings, to take a time out and really be present, be in nature, give gratitude. So sending you all so much love and peace. And I'll see you in our next video.